My mic. Can you all hear me? Cameron, can we hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
Fine.
good. I'm glad. Can we hear Andrew?
Well, I don't know. Okay.
Hello from South Dakota. Hi, everyone. You know, there's about 1,000 of you here tonight. Nothing better to do on a Friday night, I suppose, huh?
Well, COVID and all, where can you really go?
Um,
Into the snow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to give you guys a little tour of where we are here in Bixby, Oklahoma. Bixby is actually a suburb of Tulsa. So if you're ever in the Tulsa area, you can have a great time and then come on down and visit us. Wait, hold on.
We can hear you both, Andrew not as well.
Okay, so right now it's not about you.
I know, but
about
we have to mic check.
Yeah, well,
We didn't check the mics.
We probably have to turn up. No, my Michael will turn up your mic. I'm pretty sure.
Mike will mic
how,
it. All right.
That's how we work. So I'm gonna just pick up my computer here and give you a little tour of our recording studio and introduce you to some people that are here helping us tonight. So if you have watched any of the Structure and Style for Students videos, you will recognize the map, you will recognize the whiteboard, you probably won't recognize the bells unless you are already almost done with your video, in which case we played a couple games and used those bells for that. And then I'm going to introduce you to a couple people who are here tonight. This is Denise Kelly. Denise Kelly helped to write the curriculum for Structure and Style for Students. And this is Nathan King. He, for the first year, operated a camera. For the second year, well, we just continue to work very closely, Nathan and I. And this is Andrew Vasher. Andrew Vasher, if you are a high school student and are watching Structure and Style for Students level C, you might occasionally see Andrew Vasher, and I think Andrew reads at least one of your papers. So there you go. You can see how brilliant he is. This is the fetching Mrs. Pudewa. This is Andrew's wife, who we don't often get an opportunity to have you here, right? And this is Ellie Diaz, who is Andrew's daughter, and you're going to meet her later. And then back behind the curtain there is my son, Michael, who is helping with video. That's kind of what he does here for IEW. And then there's a couple people at home who are helping us out. That would be Laura, and she will be helping out in the chat. And she'll actually be the one telling me who is winning our prizes. We're giving away 5 prizes tonight. Actually, we could switch off of this computer now and go on to the big one, Cameron. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm going to close this one. So we are giving away 5 prizes. 4 of them are $50 gift certificates. And then one of them
This is like the gift certificate.
That is the gift certificate. Yeah, it's an actual
gift certificate.
Yeah, it says on there, gift certificate.
Doesn't say $50 though.
No. Actually, they're not actually going to get that. They're just going to email to them.
Oh, it's a virtual gift certificate.
Exactly. And that was just my visual reminder.
I see.
And then Structure and Style for Students. And actually, what Andrew is holding is level B. We will be giving away whatever level your kids are. Elementary would be level A. Level B is middle school. Level C, as I mentioned, is high school for those older kids who really want a challenge. And I wanted to just mention just a couple other people that are, well, one in particular who is very near and dear to my heart, and that would be Jessica. And she's at home too, helping with all the chats. And she will be helping Laura answer your questions, help to pick the winners. And we have a really fun game that we're going to be playing later on tonight that you helped us with. A lot of the questions that came from that game, the answers to those questions came from you. And there were over 300 of you who gave us those answers, which is really cool because that means the points are really high. Because every time a student gave us an answer, we got more points. So Andrew and I are going to be on opposite teams. So actually, we don't know who's going to get those points, but we're both pretty competitive. So
very competitive.
It should be really fun. And I wanted to also mention another game that we're playing, but first, actually, I'm going to mention it, but Andrew's going to describe the game. But Andrew, what are you wearing? Tell me about your tie. That
Oh,
you're
my
wearing.
tie.
Wait, hold on. Mic check. Are we okay with his mic now?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? This would be the Verizon commercial.
Mr. Vasher, are we good? Yeah. We can hear.
So,
we can hear.
well, this tie is, I wore it because it's my most commented upon tie.
Oh, well,
So whenever
you
I'm,
can add it to
out and about teaching or at a convention, if I stop in, at a supermarket to get some food, or if I'm, anywhere,
Mhm.
almost everyone who sees this tie will say, "Oh, I like your tie."
We the people.
So then I always say, "Well, I'm glad you said that because now you get to take the quiz."
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, I know you know the answer,
Oh, okay.
but the quiz is,
So let's ask the people at home. Are we zoomed in enough, Mr. Vasher, that we can see this tie?
yeah, the question I ask the random people who comment on the tie is this the Constitution of the United States or the Declaration of Independence?
So let's type in your answers. Which do you think it is? Constitution or
Declaration. I'll tell you two things about this. I have experimented with this many times. And if I say, is this the Declaration of the Constitution? Most people will say the Constitution. But if I say, is this the Constitution or the Declaration? Most people will say the Declaration. So they will lean toward the second of the two options.
So how did you say it? Which order tonight?
I'm not sure.
I think you said Constitution, then Declaration.
Yes, maybe I wanted to give people an advantage.
Or maybe you were trying to trick them.
But it is a case where at a homeschool convention, generally the moms and the kids get it.
Okay.
The adults who get it usually take a look at it and then go, "We, the people of the Schoolhouse Rock."
That's right.
It's the preamble to the Constitution.
Right. So is just the preamble on your tie?
It's just a tie with stuff. I'm sure it doesn't have the entire. No, there's Article 1 right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the preamble would just go all the way. I guess you could read it if you could read cursive.
But are the Bill of Rights on there? That's what I want to know.
I highly doubt it. Maybe if we take it all apart and unstring it.
Right. So tell us about the bingo game.
Okay, so we are going to play bingo, and you hopefully have downloaded a game card. I'm assuming that there are many different ones. Is that correct?
Yes, there are.
They're not all the same one.
They're not.
Because like then everybody would get bingo at the same time. And if you haven't yet got your bingo card, there is still time to do so. You go to iw.com/Friday Night Live, and then you can get one of these bingo cards. Now, I myself have almost no idea what's on these bingo cards. However, this is kind of like things I say. Is that right? Andrewisms?
Yes, Andrewism. That's
Andrewisms. So I'll say something. And you'll say, "Oh, I recognize that on my card." That's how it works, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And then you can, mark your boxes, put pennies, exit out, draw unhappy face, whatever you like. When you get bingo, 5 in a row, let us know in the chat box.
Yep.
And our chat monitoring team will make note of that. And also, you want to tell them which card you used, and the number of the card is in the bottom left corner.
Yep, there's the number right there. Bottom left. You can't see
She would not let me see what was on these cards. I'm really frustrated about this. Okay, because others might be interested to know if you found them all, if they have the same card.
Correct.
No, they're not going to be interested. They're going to be irritated.
That they didn't win.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Julie, what is the pizza for getting a bingo? No, I'm sorry. Prize.
The prize.
Yeah. What is the prize for getting a bingo?
So the prize is
Pizza?
No. No, but if you have pizza at home, you're welcome to have a second slice on us if you get a
On
bingo.
us?
Well,
No,
we
it's
give
on
you
yourself.
permission to go get more. But no, Andrew, you're going to tell a joke just for that family. So if that family gets bingo,
They get,
you get to tell them a joke.
and all the other families are supposed to like plug their ears or something?
No, they can listen in.
So the prize is like, no, not a real prize.
Oh, of course it is. They get to hear a joke.
You're going to make me tell jokes anyway.
Do you remember I have an undergraduate degree?
In recreation, you remind me of this frequently.
Well, that's kind of part of it, you know?
Yeah, everyone wins.
Well, yes.
Did you mention that we have people from 21 countries?
I did not mention that.
I think that's pretty
I think
interesting.
that's pretty awesome.
We at least registered over 1,000, including these countries: Australia, Azerbaijan, Bolivia, Brazil, Bulgaria. I have friends in Bulgaria.
Where is Bulgaria?
Eastern Europe.
I don't even know where that is.
It's near Hungary.
So, can you show us
Oh, well,
on the map?
sure.
Bingo.
Bulgaria. Well,
wait,
that's
I'm not looking.
it. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's
There.
actually not bordering Hungary. It's south of Romania.
Oh.
Yeah, we were going to go to Bulgaria.
I know.
I was going to go to Bulgaria and drive to Poland.
You were going to go to a lot of places.
Yeah. Okay, where was I? On the B's, Bulgaria. Canada, hello, neighbors. China, Egypt, India, Italy, Japan, Kenya, Malaysia, I've been there. New Zealand, been there too. Nigeria, haven't been there, want to go. Peru, Philippines, hello all Philippines friends. Poland, hello Polish friends. Singapore. Oh, United Arab Emirates, that's important. And then also that country where we live, the USA.
There we are. Yes.
So 21 countries
21
that we know
countries.
about.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So
that's exciting.
So I think what we probably need to do before we do anything else, Andrew, is I know you have some words to share with these students, with these children, with these parents, with these teens, with those of us that are here in the studio. Do you mind sharing a few words before to kick this off and just give us what, you haven't been able to go to many conventions this year.
No, I haven't. A few words. How many are you thinking here? Because one time you said to me, a few is 3.
Okay.
And we had an argument about whether 4 was also a few.
No, several is.
Exactly.
And a couple is 2. So you could do more than a couple, more than a few, more than several.
And a moment is 90 seconds. So how many moments do I get? All right. A few words in a few moments. Well, yes, I have over the past years done many talks. Nathan, how many talks are on my list? Do we know? There's, I don't know, at least 20 some different talks. And in a way to integrate things that keep people attentive to the content that I'm teaching, I try to add here and there humorous stories. And so I thought what I would do here is I would try to tell you just the humorous story parts of several. How many is several? How many is 7? 7.
More than several.
More than several different talks. My talks, I believe, generally come into existence as a form of therapy for myself, because it's very important that you talk to yourself. I know society frowns on this, but I have a good friend who always says, it's when you don't talk to yourself you start to go crazy. So these talks and stories are hopefully enlightening to some degree, if not at least amusing to most of you. One of the things I first started doing was teaching a seminar called Teaching Writing Structure and Style. Many of you have seen it. And kind of the mini intro to that was a talk called Reaching the Reluctant Writer. And in that talk, I kind of mention a few things that make people chuckle. One is that there's this wide spectrum of aptitude when it comes to kids and writing. On one end of the spectrum, you have probably what you could call the 18-pager, often a girl, and this child can just start writing and go on and on and on and on, and you read it, and it kind of goes on and on and on, and you're not entirely sure how to help make it better, but you're very grateful. Whew, can she put words on paper? But on the other end of the spectrum, you have a child, often a boy, not always, who would rather scrub all the floors in the building twice than put one entire paragraph on paper. Why? Because it is so overwhelming. It is so frustrating. It is the most difficult, tedious thing you could ask him to do. And yet you've somehow got to do it. And that's one of the things that makes writing difficult. Now, most kids are somewhere in between the spectrum, but I have a lot of empathy for the kids who kind of have that blank page, blank brain thing going on. I remember being in fourth grade, fifth grade. I remember very little between fifth grade and being an adult. But I have better memories of fourth, fifth grade. I had very sweet teachers, Mrs. Rucker, Mrs. Berry. And I remember the moment when one of them would say, "All right, children, today we're going to write stories, and you can make up anything you want to." And I just remember the kind of panic that came because, I would start, usually, once upon a time, there was and then a very long silence, and possibly tears dripping down my face and onto my paper. I remember thinking, I can't think of anything. And so I had this dislike of writing, especially anything that was creative writing. And then I made a huge mistake my first year in college. I took a class called creative writing. It was a disaster. It was the only C I ever got in my academic career, and it was barely a C. It was a C minus. And so I kind of came into, adulthood with this dislike of writing. But when I found Webster's system of structure and style, I immediately thought, I can do this. I can understand how this works now. And over the years of practicing and stretching, I can even get into a creative mode, especially if I happen to be mulching leaves or doing yard work of any sort. I come up with, interesting creative ideas. Well, actually, just ways to complain about it. But nevertheless, why is writing difficult, though? I finally kind of figured it out, right? To write something, first you have to have an idea. The idea must pre-exist. If there is no idea, nothing can be written. The idea can pre-exist outside yourself, something that you hear or read or see, or the idea can pre-exist inside your mind, in your imagination or your memory. It's actually easier, believe it or not, if that idea pre-exists outside because it's more objective and you can hear it or see it, but it has to exist. So when you're trying to make something up, part of the problem is just finding something in your memory or imagination that's more subjective, that's harder to identify. Then, of course, that idea, you have to speak it into existence. You have to say words that make that idea concrete and transferable. If the idea pre-existed in words, that's easy. You just gather some words, use some of the same ones. Nobody owns words, and you can speak it into existence more easily. If it pre-exists as a memory or an emotion or a picture, that's harder because then you've got to go running around to find words and attach to that. So in our system, as most of you know, we start with ideas outside the mind that pre-exist in words, and then the whole process works. But you speak them into existence. Now what do you have to do? Hear what you just said. Have you ever met anyone who seems to not hear what they said? I'll bet you have. I'll bet, in fact, perhaps you have done that yourself once or twice. I know my father said to me on many occasions, possibly hundreds of occasions, Andy, think before you speak. But I think what we come to realize is it's by speaking, we actually figure out what we're thinking. So that kind of makes sense. But you have to speak it into existence, either verbally or silently. Then you have to remember what you heard yourself say to yourself. Then you have to figure out what is the first word in that pattern. And then you've got to go figure out how to spell that first word. And then you've got to remember all the letters and make them correct. And then you've got to go back and get the second word and figure out how to spell that one and go back in the third one and keep remembering that whole thing while you're doing all that other stuff. And this can be very overwhelming. If there's a breakdown at any point in that whole process, what must a child do? Start all over again. So, as you know, one of the things that makes the structure and style system so powerful is the fact that we can break this into small, manageable pieces that we don't lose track of in this whole process. So one of the talks that I give, which I think is very helpful, and I enjoy it because it does hit people kind of in the heart and mind in a good way, is called The 4 Deadly Errors of Teaching Writing. And the first deadly error that I talk about is overcorrecting. And I suggest that we change the word correcting to editing, and then we take kind of a minimalist approach. I also confess, I like to do true confessions of many things. I don't actually like marking student papers. In fact, sometimes I'm not even sure I like reading them, but I do. Sorry, Basher. I always liked all of yours, though. But I got this idea, if I could get someone else to mark these papers, I wouldn't have to do it. So a few years ago, I started this habit of getting my students to hire an editor. And that's the first assignment. So when you start the class, you have to report to me before the next class who you've hired to be your editor. It could be an older brother or sister, could be a friend who hopefully knows a little more than you do. Could be your grandma if she's around, or you can, scan the paper, she'll mark it up, send it back. You hire your dad. You can even hire your mom. But you do have to know the difference between a mom and an editor. You see, an editor will fix up your paper and hand it back with no lecture attached. A mom, for some reason, wants to kind of sit you down and go over it, which translates to explain every mark she made and what you did wrong and how you should have done it better. And I do believe some of you are old enough to have watched some of those Snoopy cartoons. Do you remember those, Nathan? And so the Snoopy cartoon, Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin, that one. And anyway, all the Snoopy characters talk to each other, right? But the adults are always off the screen going, wah, 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 wah. I fear there's more truth to that. And when you set your child down and go over this paper, I suspect very shortly he is not hearing you. So I always tell the kids, if you want to train your mom to be an editor, you're going to have to explain that an editor will fix up the paper and hand it back with no lecture attached, because that's what you want. I know it. But it works very well, and it objectifies, and it takes some of the emotional impact of that interaction out of the picture. One of my favorite talks to do is called Teaching Boys and Other Children Who Would Rather Be Making Forts All Day. And this talk kind of grew and grew and grew and grew and got to the point where I just had to divide it into 2 talks. So now, from now on, it's just one, Teaching Boys and Girls, and the other one is Principles of Motivation. But one of the things that struck me when I learned this information from Dr. Leonard Sachs a couple decades ago was about how boys and girls, men and women, males and females, we actually see differently. And it has to do with the way that the optic nerve is connected to the retina, which I won't get into. The short version is that females, for the most part, see color and texture with greater vibrancy or intensity, and most males see speed and direction, motion with greater intensity or vibrancy. And this actually comes out behaviorally in many ways. Infants in a crib, female infants will look at a young woman's pretty face over a spinning metallic mobile, and infant boys will look at a spinning metallic mobile more than they would look at the young woman's pretty face. But it also comes out in drawing. Now, I know you've possibly seen this. I certainly have. I ran a preschool for a couple years, had lots of children, a lot of children in my life. Now I have grandchildren. And so what you often see is that children will try to draw the way they want to see the world. So boys are often trying to draw things that move, right? So bullets shooting out of a gun, or arrows arcing across the sky, or cannonballs flying out with fire, explosions. And girls will very often be working on nouns, things like flowers, faces, rainbows, horses, horses, horses. Really a lot of horses for some reason. And of course, as Sachs explained, this is kind of a problem because if you look at the drawings, the nouns look better than the motion. But if you understand, then you can assist the children. You can encourage them and learn, if you don't know, how to help them draw motion better. And so he points out that if a young child perceives that he or she is not good at something, then he may make a decision that would affect his learning for the rest of his life. This happened to me. I don't know when or where, and I don't fault anyone, but I do know that at a very young age, probably 7 or 8 years old, I stopped drawing pictures. And I quit drawing pictures because somehow I believed that I was bad at drawing pictures, and I never believed I could draw anything that would be worth looking at. And then, of course, you go to school and they force you to do stupid things like art class, and they try to brainwash you into thinking that you can do something that's good. But I knew it wasn't. And so my whole life, I can't even draw stick people. As any of you who've watched my writing class, when I'm trying to do little picture symbols, they never look like what I'm trying to make them look like. Vasher knows. He's just cracking up there. So anyway, that's one little bit that I found so very insightful about the ways that boys and girls in general hear differently, see differently, handle stress and pain very differently. Another of my favorite talks is called Nurturing Competent Communicators. In fact, I start that talk and say, I think this is the most important stuff I know. And it's kind of a two-part talk. Part one is about the huge importance of reading out loud to children. It'd be very tempting for me to use all of my remaining available time and give you that whole story. But I would like you to take it on my word that the most important thing you can do in any given day, if what you want is children who grow up to be effective writers and speakers of English, the most important thing you can do is read out loud to them. It is by far the greatest predictor of good writing skills in adults is having been read to out loud. But in the talk, I describe something I think a lot of us can relate to, and that is our ideal versus the reality of home life. And I say, I have this ideal that what I would like to do is have deep, meaningful conversations with the family at dinner. So here's my vision of the idyllic dinner. I'm sitting there in my office, emptying the email inbox, feeling successful. My son walks in at 9 or 10 years old, and he says politely, "Excuse me, Father, but dinner is on the table as we speak. Your presence is requested." And I believe him, so I immediately stop what I am doing, and I come in, and I sit down at the dining room table there in my head of the table spot. The children are lined up along the sides, hands and faces washed, waiting patiently to say grace. My wife is in the kitchen, humming or smiling. Delicious odors are wafting my way. And I sit down and think, yes, tonight is the night. The conditions are perfect. The stars are lined up. Tonight, we are going to have a meaningful conversation. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit of history, or maybe some current events, or maybe about a little bit of theology or philosophy, or maybe a book that someone's reading. It doesn't even matter as long as we're having a conversation. And then reality hits. The first thing that happens is someone over here is arguing about broccoli. Well, you got all the broccoli heads, and I got all the broccoli stems, and I don't like broccoli stems as much as I like broccoli heads. So I demand that you trade me some of the broccoli heads for some of these broccoli stems. And I'm just sitting there thinking, would you just shut up and eat it? It's just broccoli. And by the time that little spat is finished, someone has spilled the milk. Wait, it's in the passive voice. Milk is spilled. We don't know who spilled it, but it drips off the table onto someone's jeans. That gives them milk-soaked jeans. Well, you can't eat dinner in milk-soaked jeans, so you've got to cry about it, even though you're not supposed to cry about spilt milk, and then go change the jeans, and then I got to bully someone into cleaning it up because I didn't spill it. Yeah, I know, nobody spilled it, but someone's going to clean it up, and then you have to have a little argument. Are you going to clean it up with paper towels or with a sponge? Because if you use paper towels, you use too many paper towels. That's wasteful. But if you use a sponge, it won't get it completely dry. So you're going to have to use a sponge first and then paper towels, and by the time that's done, and the pants person is back, then the teenager's all finished because she doesn't eat much, has to keep her trim figure, and she stands up and says, I need to be excused now because my friend is really having a hard time and I need to talk to her on the phone or she might kill herself, so goodbye. And she just walks away, and I think, do I want to deal with this particular thing at this particular time? And I think, no, I don't. And then charming 11-year-old says, Daddy, could I please be excused because I'm dishes tonight and there's really a lot of dishes because Mom used a lot of pots and pans to make dinner and I still have to do my Latin homework before I go to bed, and I really need time because I hate to go to Latin class without my Latin homework done, so can I please be excused to do the dishes now? And how do you say no to that? And then the phone rings and your wife is out of there for the next 45 minutes. And I am all alone, sitting at the table, eating the leftovers, which I should not have been doing, thinking, where is my family? Can you relate? And it's because the busyness of life makes it so, I think, harder these days than perhaps in generations past, although I'm sure they were all very busy too, to have these in-depth, more meaningful linguistic interactions, which is why carving out the time to do that is just so vital. The other half of that talk, Nurturing, Copying, Communicators, is about the power of memorizing poetry. And I discovered the power of memorizing language when I lived in Japan for 3 years. And I kind of hit a wall on fluency. I knew all the words I needed to know, and I knew all the rules of Japanese grammar, but I didn't have kind of the fluency that I wanted. And I thought, hey, I'm a Suzuki Method student. Suzuki students memorize their whole repertoire and maintain a huge memorized repertoire, which gives them tremendous, ability, skill, talent. So maybe what I need to do is memorize Japanese language. So I got a book and I memorized Jack and the Beanstalk, and I noticed little patterns, phrases, clauses, sentences would pop out of Jack and the Beanstalk, and then I could change the words, nouns, adjectives, verbs, articles, whatever, to say what I wanted to say, and say it more smoothly in a way I never would have figured out myself. And then I kind of follow this trail, and I wanted to share with you a little story, again, one of a dozen stories I could tell about how I've seen memorized language come out in the written and spoken English. So I was teaching preschool. I had this little group of kids. They're memorizing poetry. And the first poem we memorized at the beginning of the year was very, very short because they're all like 3.5 to 5.5 years old. And it's The Fly. It goes like this. The Lord in his wisdom made the fly and then forgot to tell us why. This is by Ogden Nash. And so it's a very short poem, 2 lines, and we said it, 3 times a day for a week, and everybody knew it. And then we went and learned another poem and another poem, and we said every poem we'd ever learned every day. So after, I don't know, probably 8, 10 weeks into the school year, one of my students, oldest girl in the class, sharp as a tack, she walked in one day, and she marched right over to my table where I was working on something, and she said, "Teacher, I have a problem." And I felt like I was getting set up for something. So I said, "Well, Rose, I'm sure we can solve your problem. What is it?" And she looked at me very intently. She said, "Teacher, my mother, in her busyness, forgot my lunch. And what to do, I haven't a hunch." She had had that experience of having that template, that kind of grammatical template from the poem. And then she was able to say what she wanted to say in a way that was more humorous, and she knew it, and more engaging than she otherwise would have just said, "My mom forgot my lunch, I don't know what to do." So I could regale you with stories of that nature. But I want to finish up with a story I tell in several different talks. It's at the end of the talk, However Imperfectly, which you're welcome to listen to. I also squeeze it into talks on motivation because this story probably more than almost anything kind of changed my life. I was at the airport in Spokane, Idaho, near where I was living, or Spokane, Washington, near where I was living in northern Idaho. And I was going to fly to Boise and be gone for a week. And I had a daughter at that time who was 8 years old. And she and I were just super close. And I'm about to get on the airplane, and she just lost it. She just falls apart. "Daddy, do you really have to go away again? Because I miss you so much when you're gone." And my father's heart is being ripped out. And I'm thinking, gosh, I do this. I have a commitment. I've got to teach. This is how I take care of our family. And I thought, wait a minute. Spokane, Boise, this is a cheap ticket. So I just said, hold on. I made a quick phone call. I arranged it. I said, "Do you want to go with me?" She said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, we'll just buy a ticket right here, and you can get on the plane and fly with me to Boise and be with me the whole week. And I've arranged for you can stay with the family while I'm teaching other classes." And of course, mom's kind of like, and I said, "No, we'll go to Walmart and buy some underwear and a toothbrush. I'm not totally incompetent here." Anyway, so I took her. And she was very young age, wasn't reading much, wasn't writing much. And I let her sit in the first class on the first of 4 days of student classes. And I don't really even know what she was doing because I was very busy helping other people's children. Maybe she copied half the keyword outline for the whole 2.5 hours. I really don't remember, because I was just letting her be there, and I had no anxiety about anything that she was doing because I was doing my job. And so anyway, class was over, and this family that said she could stay with them in the afternoon, they took her, and I went and taught 2 more classes, went to pick her up at 5:30. We're driving back to the hotel, and I said, "So, sweetheart, how did you like that writing class today?" And she said to me, just like this, she goes, "Oh, Daddy, it was just wonderful." And I thought, I'm good. And then she said the thing that changed my life, which is, "How come you're not like that at home?" And I thought, wow, it is so easy to be unconditionally excited, enthusiastic, supportive, appreciative of other people's children, and how easy it is to forget to be that way, with your own. It's like, yeah, you love me, I love you. We know this. So would you get to work? Because we had stuff to do, and you need to finish that math. And we get anxiety. So, from that day forward, I failed more than I succeeded, I'm sure. But I made these efforts to try and be the best teacher that I could be, even when I'm at home, and have the anxieties that sometimes that creates. So those are a few stories from 5 of my talks. And I hope you'll look into if you have any others. And I think we need to move to the next phase, which, Julie, are we going to draw 2 winners? That's what my schedule says. Draw 2 winners?
We did draw 2 winners.
Oh, okay. So super. So are you going to announce those
No,
or?
hold on.
Oh, I am.
Am I on? Was my mic on? Okay, good. So yes, you get to announce the 2 $50 gift certificate winners. Hold on a second. Your thumbprint won't work on my
No.
phone. Okay. And oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That's all the bingos?
You have a lot of jokes to tell, Andrew. We had so many bingos. Look, I was keeping track on some of them, and you got don't look. You can't look at them.
Heidi Miller, Canadian Scooter Kids, Petra Roth, Farton Osmond. These didn't win the prize. These are the bingos. Kelly Chang, Teacher Zog.
No, that's from what planet is that from?
Zug. But that's what it says right there, Teacher Zog.
Well, maybe she's from the planet Zug.
Zug?
Yeah, what do we do on the planet Zug?
They're all purple, and then they come to Earth in spacecraft so they can capture all the chihuahuas.
Oh,
I won't go past the capturing of the chihuahuas
No.
because you don't like it when I kill dogs.
No, don't kill the puppies.
Old Line Homeschool, Janice, Lisa, Eric Olson, Imani Githegi, Patrick Riney, Becky Carlin, Janice Erline, Sophie Rossi, Hurst and Associates, Andrew Pellegrin, and Heather Nelson, Jody Peck, Christy Doring, Cher Falk, Tom Joseph, Terry Mashik, Anna Bruning, Katie Kuba, Country Lane Classroom, Angela Grace, Buffy R, April De La Cruz, Julie Shapery, Christy Doring, again. How can you win twice?
Well, there's lots of ways to
Oh.
go. You know, up,
Oh, I
down,
guess you can
over,
do that. You go to the bingo place and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
play multiple
Sure,
cards.
of
You know.
course.
Heather Nelson, Andrea Palamaki, Phyllis McKay, Amanda Reynolds, Tom Joseph, Sherry Falk, Marky Cooks, Audrey Simone Winters, Colino Marsh. Oh, she said I couldn't read them all, but I did. Oh no, there's more. Eric Olson, Sean Ives, Merkindet family, Axstar 4, Charles Burton, the Lawson family, Daniel Kiddick, Mariana Kurniawan, Petra Roth, Crystal Payne, Aaron Hughes, Amelia Erwan, Hannah Mulker, Deco Farton Osman, and the 2 drawing winners. First drawing winner, drum roll please. Michael, we're here. Lizzie Johnson.
Lizzie Johnson, congratulations. $50 will be emailed to you from Laura House.
Second drawing winner, Teresa Edelman.
Teresa, congratulations. So $50 coming your way. So
All right. So
yeah.
those are the first 2 of the 4, right?
those are the first 2 of the 5 winners. We've got 2 more
Right.
$50 gift certificates.
Okay, good.
But now you have some jokes to tell.
Well,
50 joke. No, maybe not 50.
no,
Just a
no. Well,
You
you
could do
stay
7.
here with me. You
All right,
know,
go.
it's good to have someone you can actually tell jokes to that you can see their face. Because jokes, oftentimes test your knowledge of the world. In fact, I have a good friend who says the real purpose of a great education is so you can get every joke.
So I once asked you what is one of the reasons for telling jokes, and you said that, but you also said that what he's doing when he tells jokes to students is to test their intelligence.
Well, not intelligence, but just kind of general level of knowledge, awareness, and
Right,
maturity.
Right.
Yeah, and then I can speak to them a little better. So
Yeah.
anyway, first category, jokes that test your knowledge of literature. Quasimodo goes to the doctor. The doctor says, he says, "Doc, I don't feel so good." Doctor says, "The problem is your back." Quasimodo says, "How do you know? You didn't even examine me." Doc says, "It's a hunch." All right, so what did Charles Dickens keep in his spice cabinet? The best of times and the worst of times.
You know, times was on the top of my head, but
You
I
were
wasn't-
pretty
yeah.
close. This is testing kind of a general knowledge of the author himself. And why did the chicken cross the road? According to Ernest Hemingway. Come on.
Oh, Ernest Hemingway.
To die
To die
alone in the rain.
There we go.
That right there is the whole plot of Snows of Kilimanjaro. This one's not, I think it's a book, but nobody's ever, I don't know anyone who's read the book, but we've all watched the movie,
Okay.
if we're old enough.
Okay.
What is Forrest Gump's computer password?
Run, Forrest, run.
You're really close. 1 Forrest 1.
Oh, that's funny.
Because you have to have letter and number.
Okay,
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Got it.
Actually, you need an exclamation point too with that.
Well, I'll definitely put that in there.
And of course, I love the grammar and spelling jokes. So, what do poets say when they meet for the first time? Haven't we metaphor?
Good.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Who?
Who?
Oh no, sorry, I did it wrong. Erase. Knock knock.
Who's there?
To.
To who?
No, to whom?
Yeah.
You could see that one coming. The past, the present, and the future walked into a bar.
Ouch.
No,
No.
it was tense.
Oh, it was tense. Right.
All right, this is a spelling joke, so not all kids are going to get it. My grandchildren wouldn't get this one.
Okay.
Why can you not hear a pterodactyl in the restroom?
Because there's a silent P. This is such a boy joke.
It is, but I'm a boy. And now, the third one, and you tell me when we're out of time, because I've got a lot.
Okay, well, we've got more jokes to and more bingo winners because
Yeah.
we're not done yet.
But this would go in the vocabulary category.
Okay, how about a couple or a few more?
Starting from easy. No, we're going to have several more.
Several more. Okay.
Because they go in batches of 4.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so this is testing vocabulary. Starting super easy. Why do we say to actors, break a leg? I told you this earlier today.
But it's so much
Come on, answer. You know the answer.
because they need
Every play needs
a cast. Every play needs a cast,
Yes, okay.
which is really good. I never even thought about that.
What do you call fake spaghetti?
Impasta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. The teacher said to the student, what state are you in? And the student said, denial. And then you hate this joke, but this is one of my favorites. Why did the egg cross the road?
Because it had the inclination. It's a dumb
I
joke.
love that joke. All right, well,
Dumb.
that's 3 categories: literature, grammar, spelling, and vocabulary.
Excellent.
All right. What's next on our calendar schedule here?
I think we're going to play a game.
Family Feud.
Yes.
All
Let's play
right.
Family Feud.
Let's do it.
This is where we cue the music, right?
Da, 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 da. Oh, shoot. Confused my game show themes. Did you study how to play this game?
I did watch a video.
Yep. I got distracted watching the dumbest answers ever given in this game.
It was a little difficult to
Videos.
find good episodes to watch.
Yeah.
Because they had all the best of or whatever. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're going to have our very own game show tonight. IEW is putting on our own game show based on Family Feud. So many of you probably know that game and know that show. But for those of you who don't, I'm going to give a little synopsis of the rules and maybe even a little bit how we're going to play it that might be slightly different than the way that they play it on television. So we actually sent out a survey to over 300 people. Well, excuse me, we sent it out to lots of people, but over 300 people responded. 300 kids
So
responded.
all the answers are from
Yes,
children.
all the answers are from children. And I believe in Family Feud, they only do 100, so we're better. All right, so contestants in the game are going to try to guess the most popular answers. The more popular answers are worth more points. If 66 people say a specific answer, the question is worth 66 points, right? That answer is worth 66 points. So we're going to, if a contestant gives an answer that is not one of the ones that are going to be on our board, that answer is no good. Occasionally we get a student that gives one answer, but we don't keep those. It's only the ones that are significantly represented, okay? We have begun by placing a bell in front of our contestants. We're going to have just one contestant on each team be the bell ringer for each round. In order to be a bell ringer, you need to have your hands behind your back, just as Julie Walker and Andrew Pudewa both have their hands behind their back. And when I read the question, you need to listen to the entire question before ringing the bell, okay? Now, if your answer is one of the answers on the board, you can then, the first person to ring, if your answer is one of the answers that we put on the board, you get to choose to either play or pass. If you choose to play, members of your team try to individually guess further answers until they guess all possible answers on the board. So you have to get all of them.
6?
6. Well, sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 5. I'll let you know how
okay.
many. If they pass, they force the other team to try to do that. All right. If a team guesses all the remaining possible answers, they get all the points on the board. So it's a great amount of points. However, if they give any answers that are not on the board, they get an X. And after 3 X's, the other team gets a chance to steal. Here's the advantage. If you try to steal and you get just one correct answer, you get all the points on the board, right? So there's a strategy there. Do you want to try to go for all of it, or do you want to try to make them go for it, right? If the stealing team guesses one of the remaining possible answers, they capture all the points on the board. If not, the first team still gets all the points that they already accrued. All right. Once a team has either guessed the whole board or attempted to steal, the round is over and we move on to a new question, and we'll move the bell to the other contestant to try. Does that make sense? Any questions from our contestants? So I'm going to introduce our contestants. We have 2 teams. On this side, we have Julie Walker, who is the CMO of IEW. That means Corporate Marketing Officer. It is her job to let you know all the amazing things that we do here at IEW. Next to her is her son, Michael Walker. Michael is actually the wizard behind the curtain on so much of what happens here with IEW Media. And so he is, you may not see him very often, but that's because he's doing all the magic behind the scenes. Of course, on my right is Andrew Pudewa, and he is known by the child in Alaska as the funny man with the wonderful words, right? That's the best thing.
That's the best thing.
The best thing right there. And he also has with him his daughter, Ellie Diaz. And Ellie, even though you have a different last name now that you are married, we're going to still call this Team Pudewa, if that's okay with you. Ellie is actually involved with a lot of our social media and marketing. She does a lot of affiliate work. And maybe most importantly, she also was involved as the makeup artist for Andrew for all of the Structure and Style for Students program. And so she did a great job doing that. So we have Team Walker and we have Team Pudewa. Okay. We're going to begin with our first question. Andrew and Julie, this will be yours. What might you find? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to start over again. There are 6 answers possible for this question. What might you find under your bed? I'm going to give that one to Julie. Julie, what do you think?
Dust.
Do we have dust? Denise is bringing dust up to the board, and it has 81 answers, which makes it number 1. Julie, do you want to play or pass these 6 possible answers?
So do we get to ask the studio audience?
That's right. If you would like the Julie and Michael to play, write play in the comments. If you'd like them to pass, write pass. And I believe that Laura is going to text me right now what she gets as the general sense of our dear audience.
What about? What are we gonna do?
Laura is texting me.
Question. Do
Yes.
you have the option to disregard?
No, you do not have the option of disregarding. She says they're really kind of wanting you to play.
All right.
You're going to go for it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, you're going to play. All right, in that case, Michael, let's hear from you. What might you find under your bed?
If these are kids, then clothes.
Clothes. Do we have clothes? Yes, we do. Number 2, the number 2 answer was clothes and socks, or socks. That was 66 answers. Let's go back to Julie. Julie, what might you find under your bed?
Your puppy or your cat.
Your puppy or your cat?
Ooh.
She's coming in with a red. It is an X. It is an X. All right, we're going back to
The
Michael.
first
Michael,
of 3.
first of 3. What might you find under your bed?
Books.
Let's see books. Are books on the board? Denise is coming with a answer here. Number 5 is books with, looks like 19 people. 19 people answered books. Okay. Not very many more on there. Okay, Julie, let's hear from you. What might you find under your bed?
Like for hide and go seek, a child hiding under the bed.
A child hiding under the bed. I'm afraid we have X. Number 2.
Great answer, kid.
Number
Come
2.
on.
Number 2. Okay, here we go. Michael, you might get an X. You might go on. We'll see. What might you find under your bed?
Trash.
Trash. Do we have
No.
trash and or rubbish? No, that is 3 X's. Team Pudewa,
Yes.
you get to confer with one another. This is different than the television show. You may confer and decide on an answer that you want to go with. If it's on the board at all, you win all the points.
All right.
What are you going to go with?
Toys.
They're going with toys. Do we have
Yes!
toys? Toys is number 3 on the board, which means we have 34 right there. And they're going to gain all of those points. The other answers that were possible were monster,
Monster. about
under the
that.
bed, and
Oh.
shoes under the bed. Okay. And Laura's going to tell me the number of points that we have here. They get a 200 even point
All
here.
right.
Wow.
200 even. That sounds good.
I believe I just had an out-of-body experience. I was writing on the structure and style for students whiteboard.
Yes.
That just happened. Okay, well. We're going to go to question number 2. What?
Oh, time out.
Excuse me. Yes, we need to get that to Ellie and to Michael. Okay, so Ellie and Michael. What is Mr. Pudewa's? We have 6 answers possible. I don't do this part of this for a living. I'm working on it. There are 6 answers possible. What is Mr. Pudewa's favorite hobby? That was Ellie.
It is cooking.
Cooking. Do we have cooking on the board? It is number 5 on the board with 12 answers. And bear in mind, this doesn't necessarily mean it actually is his favorite. It's what people thought his favorite was, right? Ellie, do you want to play or pass? Excuse me.
If we guess one that's higher than that,
No.
No.
She gets to choose right now to play or
we're not
pass.
playing the game if you guess.
We played a little different.
Okay, great.
That's right.
We will definitely play.
Okay. Team Pudewa is going to go ahead and play. All right. What is Mr. Pudewa's favorite hobby? And actually, Andrew, you have your mic on, so I'm not going to give you this mic. So, what is your favorite hobby according to your audience here? What do you think?
Writing?
Writing. Is writing on the board? It is. Writing is on the board. We have 50 points there, right? 50 people said that writing is Mr. Pudewa's favorite. Is that true? Is that actually one of your favorite hobbies?
It's not true.
Not one of his favorite
But-
hobbies.
It's perception.
Perception is everything. Okay. Ellie, what is Mr. Pudewa's favorite hobby?
Teaching.
Teaching. Do we have teaching
Oh.
on the board? We do
See, I
indeed.
wouldn't
Number
think
3,
that's like
teaching
a-
has
a
29
job, not a
people.
hobby.
Well done.
Mm.
Andrew, what is Mr. Pudewa's favorite hobby according to our survey respondents?
Music?
Yeah, I think you better do it. Yep. We're gonna do that. Playing violin. We're gonna call that playing violin. Yep.
These
Yeah.
people really don't know me.
Number 61. 61 people said that. 61 people. All right, so we're getting down to the wire. We only have 2 more to go. Ellie, what is Mr. Pudewa's favorite hobby?
It is gardening.
Gardening. Is gardening, in fact, on the board? Denise is coming over with a red marker, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. That was not the perception of our audience. I'm sorry.
Can't we just stop now and get the points?
You played. You've got to go all the way
All right.
through. So, Andrew, what is Mr. Pudewa's favorite hobby?
Latin.
Latin. Is Latin on our board? Oh, Denise, with a second X. This is boding ill. All right, Ellie, can you save him? Can you save Team Pudewa? Here we go. What is Mr. Pudewa's favorite hobby?
Playing with his grandchildren.
Grandkids. Is grandkids on the board? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm
we still have
sorry.
a
This
chance.
is a chance. This is a chance. Just a chance that Julie and Michael can take this game. What do you think? Julie and Michael, you may confer.
Telling jokes.
Is telling jokes on the board?
How do we not
It
think of that?
is number 4. Now, is that one pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. We're 21. The last one that was on there was sailing. Sailing was on the list. So, Laura's going to tell me the number of points. That is 173. 173. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, we're going to our third question. Excuse me, I'm sorry, please.
You just erase all the points. All right.
All right. Here we go. We're going to Julie and Andrew now. That's right. Okay, here we go. Which household chore do kids like the least? Andrew.
Dishes.
Is dishes on the board? Dishes is, in fact, number 1 on the board. Andrew and our audience, do you think the Team Pudewa should play or pass? Give us your indication on the comments right now. But you guys can confer. Do you want to play or pass? 6 answers are on the board.
Play.
They say play. Audience, with Laura, is that kind of what the audience was thinking? Yes. Okay. All right.
All right.
Here we go.
It's on you.
Ellie, which household chore do kids like the least?
Taking the trash out.
Taking out the trash.
Right.
All right, number 4. That is on the board. Number 4 with 20. That's personal experience right there. All right. With 21. 21. All right. Andrew, which household chore do kids like?
Cleaning the bathrooms.
Cleaning the bathroom. Is that on the board? It is, in fact, number 2.
Scrub all
80.
the toilets in the building.
All right, so we have quite a few. I think that's all right. We got number 1, number 2, but they got them both. That's okay. All right, Ellie, which household chore do kids like the least?
Cleaning the floors, vacuuming, and mopping.
Good fun.
Okay. Well, now I saw it, so it's too late. I already know which
All right. We're going to go with vacuuming. We're going to
Okay.
vacuum. We're floor care of some kind, apparently, right? Okay. So, vacuuming. Yes, that is number 5. Okay, Andrew, what household chore kids like the least?
Well, in my experience, it's not exactly a household chore, but cleaning up after pets.
Pets. Are pets on
No?
the board?
Oh.
They're not. Maybe some children are reassessing their answers, but alas, it is not on our
Well,
board now.
it's usually the dog outside.
Yeah.
And, oh, I hated that.
Ellie, you get to redeem the opportunity here. Which household chore do kids like the least?
Washing clothes.
Washing clothes. Is laundry on the board?
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. Laundry on the board. Number 6, 16 students. All right, Andrew, you still have 2 more X's, and you only need 1 more answer.
There's only one
What do you
more
think?
possible answer.
1 more possible.
Cleaning their own room.
Is cleaning their room on
Yes!
it is on the board. A total sweep. Looks
Ooh.
like we have got quite a few here. And Laura, what's my point total on that? 279. All right.
Oh, wow. No, 279 plus 2. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could add.
He's old enough to have learned
I-
mental math in his day.
That one was an easy one, though. I just added to the zeros and I did all right. Okay. Well, we have one more question we're gonna do. So we're gonna do one more round. and we're going to see how this goes. Okay, here we go. Walkers, I think you may need to actually clear this board out, but it may be possible. Maybe possible with 300 people answering. It may be possible. Here we go. So, Michael and Ellie, what are things that kids throw at one another? That was Michael.
Snowballs.
Snowballs. Do we have snowballs on the board? We do indeed. We do indeed. Audience, do you think they ought to play or pass? Put that into the comments. You guys may confer. And Laura's going to give us a sense of how the audience is responding. And of course, we wish we could have all of you here to actually respond.
Yeah.
But alas.
We get everyone
She
turn on
says
their,
it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. So you're going to make a call without any help.
Want to play this game, or do you want to play this game?
I want to play this game.
All right, I want to play a game. I'm just here to fun.
You're going to go for it? Okay, they're going to play it. All right. In that case, Julie, what are things that kids throw at each other?
Frisbees.
Frisbees. Is frisbees on the board? That is our first X. First
yeah, they
X.
play catch with frisbees. They don't throw them at each other.
Nevertheless, we can go on. Michael, what are things that kids throw at one another?
Water balloons.
Water balloons.
that's
Are
good.
water balloons on? They are. It's number 6 on the board. Here we go.
I'm impressed.
Okay. That puts us at 110. All right. Here we go. Julie, what are things that kids throw at one another?
This is terrible. But I have known of this to happen. Spitwads.
Spitwads. Are spitwads on the board? Whether they should be or not, there we are with X number 2. We have well-behaved children.
Oh, okay.
So apparently there were some that did, but we have very well-behaved children that are associated with IEW. All right, what are some things that kids throw at one another? Michael?
Balls.
Balls. Do they throw just regular balls at one another? It is, in fact, the number 2 answer. Balls. All right. Okay, 193. Here we go. Julie, what are things that kids throw at one another?
I just think maliciously because I have all boys, you know?
We never threw rocks or spitwads at each other. Did we?
Rocks.
Rocks.
Oh gosh.
Rocks at one another. Julie, this may not go well. I'm not seeing a possibility here for a path to victory. Pudewas, what do you think? One answer and you'll steal the whole thing. Otherwise, they get all the points on the board. You may confer.
Yeah, I mean, stereotypically,
Yes.
yeah, I agree.
Have you ever known a child to not throw food once in their life?
Okay, all right.
What's your answer?
Food.
They're going to say food. Is food on the board? It is for a full steal. That takes us, I believe, to 211 if my mental math is correct.
Oh, yeah.
Am I right, Laura? Yes, I am correct. All right, so 211. Very good. Yeah, right.
You know what? I
90.
say pretty confidently that
At that moment, my mind went blank and I felt silly. Okay, there you go. Oh, yeah, 2 other options were toys
Oh, pillows.
and pillows
Yeah.
that children did. So I think that we can say that Team Pudewa won that for 690 to Team Walker 173. Thanks for playing.
Thank you. Thank you. Good game.
And thank you for watching.
All right.
just for the record, I have 3 boys, so I can just say my son,
Yes,
and you won't know which one I'm talking about, right?
that's
So
correct.
they
I
were-
might guess because I know all 3 of them. But
It's true. So they were
Yeah.
playing David and Goliath in the backyard. One of those rocks actually
hit.
hit.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Well, at least it was an authentic David and Goliath experience.
Yes,
Since
perhaps.
if he missed, then it wouldn't have been the real story.
It was. So I think we have probably a few more bingo winners. So I think we are needing a few more jokes. So
All
what
right.
do you think?
Well, let's go on with how education helps you get all of the good jokes.
Okay. First of all, can we take these down because this was like pretty sad.
And we are very competitive.
We are very
Just
competitive.
leave those 3 X's there as a reminder. And
You could leave the score up there if you want to.
no,
There
no.
you go.
I like clean whiteboards. You know
It's
that.
true. He was actually a little bit concerned that we put tape on his whiteboard, but it came off very nicely, didn't it?
So if you have a little bit of knowledge of world religions,
Okay.
then you can get some jokes that you might not get if you don't.
Okay.
Have you heard about the new restaurant in town? It's called Karma. There's no menu. You get what you deserve.
Oh dear.
Then, of course, there was the Zen Buddhist. Wait, if I can actually say this. Yes, the Zen Buddhist who goes to order a hot dog. He says, "Make me one with everything."
Right.
This one, I think the kids will get. Where did Noah keep his bees?
In the beehive.
Close. In the archives.
In the archives. Oh, very nice. Yes.
And of course, the wife says to the husband, "Would you please go make coffee?"
Mhm.
And he says, "Why do I always have to make the coffee?"
Mhm.
She goes, "Well, it's biblical." He goes,
Oh.
"What do you mean?" So she opens up her New Testament and turns to a certain book and says, "Look there, it's at the top of every page, Hebrews."
Hebrews. Oh, I like that.
So there's your world religions. Math.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
very good at math.
Why was 10 afraid? Because 7, 8, 9.
Right. Okay.
You don't need any math for that one. What did the 0 say to the 8?
Nothing. 0. Say to the 8.
I guess I could do it a little more artistically. Nice belt.
Nice belt. Very nice.
What do you call a few high school dudes that hang out and do math together?
Do math together.
Algebros.
Oh, bros. Got it.
Okay, now this actually requires some math
Okay.
knowledge.
All right.
I just learned this joke today.
Okay.
Why should you never speak the number 288?
288.
Mhm.
I just did. I'm in trouble.
It's too gross.
Too gross. That's good.
Okay, we have to explain. A gross is 12 times 12, which is 144. And if you have 2 of them, you get a number that is too gross.
Too gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah,
That's good.
kids whose dads aren't watching, try that on them later.
That's a good dad joke. Yeah.
Yeah. Geography,
Okay.
very important subject to study.
Yes.
What's so great about living in Switzerland?
The Alps.
No, I have no idea, but their flag is a big plus.
The flag is a big plus.
And I think you've heard this one.
Okay.
So answer it if you remember it.
Okay.
I tell you jokes and you don't always remember them.
Or maybe I just play along.
Oh, okay. So the countries of Sweden, Finland, and Norway have all started to paint large barcodes on the side of their ships. Do you know why?
I do know why.
Well, tell us.
That's so that they can scan the Navy in.
Yes. When the
Scan-
ships return to port, they can Scandinavian.
See, I know the punchlines, but I don't know how to say them right.
Scandinavian. You have to say it, Scandinavian.
Scandinavian.
All right. A little boy got a 0 on his geography test, but he did. Oh, and the teacher said, "Oh, wait, no." Little boy failed his Canadian geography test.
Oh, all you Canadians out there.
They know this joke.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
He knew none of it.
Nunavut.
None of it. Got to say it right. This isn't quite a geography joke, but it's a good one. All the people in other countries they'll like this joke.
Okay.
What do you call a person who speaks several languages?
Multilingual.
What do you call a person who speaks 2 languages?
Bilingual.
What do you call a person who speaks 1 language?
Sadly, I know the answer to that.
An American.
American. Yeah. Yeah. it's
All
true.
right. Well, that's world religions, math, and culture. Are we going to give away 2 more certificates?
Yes, we have 2 more certificates, and then I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. When
So-
do we give away the SSS? The
After I
big
ask-
grand prize.
Okay, I'm looking up Laura, who is our winner. We have 2 more winner gift certificates. Eileen Gravel
Hey, Eileen.
and Helen Patterson. So
Pet-
congratulations.
Pedersen.
Oh, Pedersen.
Pedersen. with an
Helen
E.
Pedersen.
Yes.
And I'm not wearing my glasses. Neither are you.
Yeah.
How can you see this? So congratulations on winning the $50 gift certificate. Andrew, can I ask you a few questions? I
Okay,
have a
sure.
few questions. for
All
you.
right. Where did these questions come from?
It's not what you think.
Oh. Has everybody got the bingo done, do you think? Nathan, did you win the bingo?
I wasn't playing.
Oh.
We have a few more people who think that they should be able to fill up their bingo card. So
Oh,
we're going to do block out bingo. here,
Okay.
Okay. So if you block out your entire bingo card, meaning not just up and down and diagonal, but the whole card, this is not blocked out. This is a very wimpy start. So I'm going to ask you some questions
all right.
and we'll play some bingo here.
Okay.
When you were growing up, what was your favorite subject in school?
It would depend on the age.
So say elementary school, 9 years old. What was your favorite subject?
Probably math.
So it wasn't writing?
No.
What did you want to be when you grew
A
up?
lawyer.
A lawyer.
Thank the Lord it didn't happen because I don't like the paperwork.
And you spent many years in Japan
Yes, I did.
as a young adult. What were you doing there?
I was studying violin with Dr. Suzuki
Oh, I see.
at
Okay.
the Talent Education Institute in Matsumoto, Nagano Prefecture, at the foot of the Japan Alps.
Wow. I don't know any of that.
5 hours by slow train from Tokyo.
Oh, so almost as remote as Gruard.
No, Gruard is very, very remote.
Even more remote, which
Yeah.
is where we learned from Dr. Webster his structure and style program. So, what was the hardest thing that you've ever had to do working here at IEW? The hardest thing.
Well, I have said the hardest thing was the refilming of the TWSS when we went to Irving
Mhm,
and did the whole thing in 3 days.
mhm.
So
Would you say that was it? That was at that time. Anything since then that you've done that was particularly arduous?
what do you want me to say? I mean,
Nope, that's okay.
Okay.
Teaching, writing, structure, and style.
that was
Teach it through.
hard in a short, intense kind of way.
Yeah. So what's the
Doing the SSS was hard in a marathon kind of way.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
So what was the best thing that we've ever done here at IEW?
The SSS.
Yes, absolutely. So name some of your favorite authors.
My favorite authors?
Mhm.
Well, I really would like to like G.K. Chesterton,
Mhm, mhm.
but every time I try to read it, it's hard. Tolstoy,
Okay.
John Grisham, I will
Mm,
confess to, I love a good legal mystery story.
Mhm.
And if we could throw poets
Sure.
who are authors, then we'd have to have Guy Wetmore Carroll and Lewis Carroll and Robert Louis Stevenson.
Okay. Excellent. So, what is your favorite thing to do at IUW?
Probably meetings with you.
That is not true.
Probably is when people come to visit
Mhm.
and I give them a little tour and answer questions and show them the offices in the studio and
Mhm.
especially if they like saw me on video and they happen to be passing through Tulsa.
Yeah, which just happened this
Just
week.
happened this week, yeah.
that's right. So, tell us about some of the movies that you're familiar with that teach lessons on how to teach.
Well, I think the best example isn't a movie that I would watch the whole thing,
Mhm.
but the first 6 minutes is fantastic.
Okay.
A river runs through it.
Okay. And what lesson are we learning from that?
It's all process, not product.
Okay, good. And just have two more questions.
Hmm.
So you have occasionally used the word tautology.
Yes.
So what exactly is tautology? And can you give us an
It's
example?
it's when you define something with itself.
Okay.
So for example, classical education is good.
Mhm.
Why? Well, because it's classical education.
Mhm.
Or how do you think? You use your brain. How do you use your brain? You think of stuff,
Great.
right?
Good. Good.
So
All right. And final question. How long have you had your mustache?
sweetheart, when we got married, I had a beard and a mustache. I don't remember having it before we got married. Oh, was I? And then I grew the beard. So it'd be pushing, it'd be over 30 years.
So over 30 years.
Yeah, but I don't remember when I dropped the beard part and just kept the mustache. Do you remember? Yeah, occasionally I get in the beard mood. Yeah. Yeah, 30 years. And I'm pretty sure that once I started making videos and traveling, I never got a beard again.
So have you ever thought of like shaving that off or anything?
No, but I trimmed it right before we made
There you
this
go.
movie.
Now all of you should have bingo, right? I think we hit just about all those boxes, right? Okay, I think we need to do another drawing, our final grand prize, and then Andrew, if you could finish up with some more jokes, and we'll have some names of people that you are sharing these jokes for, and those will be the people that have the block out bingo. So
Oh.
our entire card.
Honorable mention, huh?
Got a couple. Okay. And the winner of the structure and style for student is,
Jenna Davis.
so congratulations, Jenna.
And
You are the winner.
she lets us know, does she want level A or B or C?
Yeah, so Laura will contact you, Jenna, and you are our lucky
Okay,
winner.
here's just like an outside shot. What if she already bought one?
Laura will take care of her
Okay,
because we're so nice.
okay.
So we have several here. I'm going to let you read all the names who got block out bingo. So congratulations
Oh,
to that.
so they got every square on the board.
Every square. on the
Nadine
board.
Schmidt, Merkindata family, Imani Githei. Drink water. Her phone reminds her of stuff. Canadian Scooter Kids, Tom Joseph, Sarah S., Andrea Palamaki, Liucon 16, Janice C., Mai Chisanga, sorry if I butcher any of these names, Sherry Falk, Steph Rosan, Old Line Homeschool, Adjeni Riquez, smushed all together, Mariana Corniawan, Juan Trujillo, and Ilona Road.
Oh, Congratulations to all of you. Andrew, do you have some jokes for them?
2 more categories.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
So science jokes, in particular chemistry,
Okay.
lends itself, well
Okay.
to jokes. The simple one that all the kids know is, why can you not trust atoms? They make up everything.
They make up everything. Yeah. Okay. Everyone knows that.
That's just for the little kids out there. I prefer chemistry jokes because they're more likely to get a reaction.
Oh, yes, exactly.
This is my favorite joke. 2 electrons,
Yep.
2 atoms are walking down the street. One atom says to the other, I think I've lost an electron. The other one says, really? Are you sure? And then the other one says, yeah, I'm positive.
Yes. That's a good one.
I'd tell you some more chemistry jokes, but the good ones are gone.
Are gone.
The last category is for the rarefied few
Okay. So our blockout winners.
who have studied a bit of Latin.
Oh, okay.
Now, my friend Martin says, to be a gentleman, you don't have to know Latin. You simply have to have learned enough to have forgotten some.
Okay, good.
So anyone who ever studied Latin would get probably at least 2 or 3 out of these 4.
Okay.
The first one, very simple. Centurion walks into the bar. He says, I'll have 5 beers.
Mm.
Okay. Of course, question is, what are you going to do with 5 beers? Well, the centurion would buy him for his subordinates, of course.
Well, he needs to get a few more if he's a centurion.
No, he's got people over the 100. He doesn't
Okay.
do the whole 100 himself. Well, he's like you. Okay. This could be slightly off color, but anyone who wouldn't understand it wouldn't understand it. So it's safe. But
Okay.
the verb says to the noun, the Latin verb says to the Latin noun, I would ask you to conjugate with me, but I'm sure you'll decline.
Yes, exactly.
Little boy is in Latin class and he's dozing off because he stayed up too late playing video games the night before. Can you imagine? But the teacher calls on him and says, Billy, please conjugate. And she says something and he kind of wakes up and says to his buddy, what does she want me to do?
Mhm.
And his buddy says, darn if I know. So he stands up and he says, darn if I know, darn if I not, darn if I namus, darn if I not, darn if I not.
Yeah.
Did I even get that right? All right. Now the last one, unless you've got to quite a bit of Latin, might not even make sense. But anyway, Cicero is speaking to the Senate, and one of the senators arrives late.
Mm.
He sits down in the back, and he says to the guy sitting next to him, the other senator, what is he talking about?
Mhm.
And the other senator says, I don't know. He hasn't got to the verb yet.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Well, is that it for the evening?
that is our first, perhaps last, but certainly the most fun Friday Night Live that we've done.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining us.
And if we never do it again, it'll always be the best.
It will always be the best or the worst.
True.
We need to do another one just so that the walkers can challenge.
Oh
the
yeah,
Pudewas
you
again.
need a
Yeah.
rematch.
So just a few things, just for those of you that are attending here live tonight, we do have a free shipping code for you to use this weekend. And we're going to put up some slides, talk about our 12 days of Christmas giving. These are gifts that we give to you starting the day after Christmas all the way through the 12 days after Christmas. So that's coming up soon. And then we're having our clearance sale. Lots of few announcements that we'll just put up at the end. So thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you, Nathan, and thank you, Ellie, and thank you, Michael, and Andrew, and Denise, and everyone else, and Laura, and Cameron,
And Jessica.
and Jessica.
And Levi. God bless you. You're so good looking.